Am I the a-hole for buying my boyfriend flowers after he mentioned most men only get them when they die? Plus updates. Original post. Okay, so my boyfriend, 22 male, and I, 21 female, have been together for about 5 months, and it has been good so far. But about a week ago, when I was at his apartment, he told me that most men only receive flowers when they're dead. He then went on a bit of a rant about women not caring as much as men when it comes to their partners, and said that men want shows of affection too. I honestly took this all as a hint that he wanted flowers. So yesterday, I went to Whole Foods and picked out all the flowers I thought he would like, and put together a big bouquet for him. I also got him a coffee, some chocolates, and a few other things I thought he would like. I've done things like this before, but without the flowers. I usually put a Game Pass gift card or Lego set, etc. I feel like this is important because I don't want anyone to think I don't show him affection or get him gifts. I definitely do. So I show up at his apartment with literally the biggest smile. I was so excited for his reaction, but when I gave him the flowers, he got a super uncomfortable look on his face and wouldn't touch or kiss me at all. I asked him what was wrong and if he liked the flowers, and he just kind of blew up at me, saying that flowers are only for apologizing and that if I cheated on him, I needed to tell him right now. I was shocked and started crying because I have never and would never cheat on anyone. He took the flowers to the kitchen and threw them in the trash, which honestly felt like a huge punch in the gut. He told me to get out of his apartment and that he didn't have time for cheating bitches. His words. Every time I tried to explain, he said he didn't want my excuses and that when I'm ready to tell him who the man is, then I can talk to him. But there is no man. I didn't cheat on him. I just thought he wanted flowers. I've never thought of flowers as just an apology. He's never gotten them for me, but I just thought he didn't like showing love that way, so I buy them for myself every week. I'm just so confused and hurt by his reaction, and I don't know what to do to fix the situation. So am I the a-hole for buying him flowers? Do women really only buy flowers as an apology? I'm so confused. Now for the top comments before reading the updates. The hell? This dude is a major a-hole for sure. Certainly not the a-hole. I'd be over the moon to receive flowers. And this dude certainly sounded like he was asking for flowers without asking for them. Your boyfriend is just a total jerk for sure and showing his true colors. He probably wanted to vent about how women have it so much better than men, and picked the one thing he thought he would never receive as a man, as his example of women having the good life while men suffer. When she showed up with her gift, she took away his ability to rant, so he jumped into saying she cheated. He just wanted to rant and insult her. How dare she show up with a thoughtful gift, rather than apologize for being a woman who uses men. Not the a-hole. There is literally zero possibility of anyone being the a-hole in this situation except him. The way he spoke to you is a warning about who he really is. Listen to it. Dump that loser. He very obviously is a not very covert misogynist and blames women for self-induced pitfalls. Yes, listen to him telling you who he is. It's only been a few months. Get out now before you get more attached. Be prepared to block him everywhere. He may be unhinged enough to harass you. And whatever he says, do not take him back. It will show him you can be manipulated and will only encourage him to be bolder in introducing abusive behaviors. It seems he was only ranting about that as some rhetoric that tries to prove men are just as oppressed as women. When actually faced with what he supposedly was arguing for, he got uncomfortable because it isn't actually an issue he believes in. Sounds like he's leaning further from you ideologically. That's why I broke up with my ex. He started saying stuff like, "Bring back manly men," and I knew it was over. That's what I think too. He never actually wanted the flowers. He wanted to prove he was being shorted by women. And when I got him what he wanted, he threw it back in my face because he wanted to prove a point, and me getting him flowers messed that up. Mini update. I'm completely overwhelmed by the responses, and everyone is making me realize that he's not worth my time at all. I tried to do something nice for him and he threw it back in my face. I texted him and told him we need to talk, and his response was, "Finally ready to confess, or what?" So that tells me he's done no critical thinking on his end about the situation. We are meeting for lunch tomorrow, and I will update everyone after. Thank you everyone for the kind replies and for opening my eyes to what an a-hole this guy is. I'm just glad I didn't waste years of my time. I want to clarify a few things about my post. His parents gift each other flowers regularly, so he has seen flowers given to a partner for reasons other than cheating. His mother gifted him flowers for his college graduation, so he has received flowers previously, and this is not the first time. Also, I have had a few people tell me it's weird of me to gift him things like the Lego sets I mentioned in my post. He told me at the beginning of our relationship that his love language is gift-giving, and he loves receiving gifts. That is why I do it. I did not think it would come across as weird in any way. I only spend around $50 each time, which is nothing for me as I have a well-paying job. I was in a relationship for 2 years previously, and I gave my partner monthly gifts throughout the entire relationship, so I'm in no way trying to love bomb him. I just always want my partner to know they are loved and appreciated. Mini update 2. Everyone. His mother is asking if she can call me. What should I do? His mother loves me and is honestly an angel. I don't know what he's told her about this situation. Should I be worried? I'm sorry for updating so many times. There's just a lot happening. I'm going to take Reddit's advice and take the call from his mother. I don't think she means any harm in calling me, but if it gets hostile at all, I will hang up. I am also considering canceling lunch tomorrow, but it partially depends on how this phone call goes. I've also had someone suggest just sending them both the link to this post, which I am considering. Everyone's opinions on that would be appreciated. I told his mother she can call me this evening, so I will update after that as well. Now for the full update. Alright guys, this isn't the update any of you were expecting, or maybe it is, and it's definitely not the one I was expecting to give. But his mom called me, and it was both him and his mom on the phone. I pretty quickly told them I wasn't willing to talk to both of them, but my ex-boyfriend was crying. Like, crying actual tears. So I listened. His mom told me he had been talking to her about us, and she wants him to talk to me with her support so he can tell me everything. He started by telling me how he hasn't felt like I'm what he wants in a woman. I'm not willing to move in with him yet, and he's someone who only wants to date for 6 months before getting engaged, which he had not told me before, so this surprised me. This would mean he wants to be engaged next month, which is way too soon for me. He also told me that he has trauma around cheating, because his high school girlfriend cheated on him in junior year. And you guessed it, apologized with a rose. Then he told me that he wants someone who is less career-focused and someone who wants to have kids and not work. He said he thinks some of my ideals and morals are skewed, but wouldn't tell me which ones or what he meant. He also told me he's realized I am a radical feminist, which I think is extreme. While yes, I consider myself a feminist, I don't hate men or think they are all bad. I've never talked badly about them to him, and have really given him no reason to think this, aside from being pro-choice. He said he can't date someone who doesn't respect him and emasculates him. He said the flowers I gave him showed him that I viewed him as feminine, and also showed that I was cheating. I told him again that I was not, and had never cheated on him, and asked if he had cheated on me before. He was quiet for, I kid you not, a full 2 minutes and then asked me to define cheating. I asked if he had slept with someone else, and he said no. I asked why he mentioned the flowers if he thought flowers were emasculating, and he said it was more about the fact that men are treated, and I quote, more as slaves than human in our society. He said it was less about him wanting flowers, and more about him feeling like women aren't owed flowers. That was enough explanation on where he was coming from for me. I told him our relationship was clearly over and we don't share the same ideals. He said he was willing to work on it if I would make changes to become wife material. I said no and hung up. So yeah, lunch is definitely canceled and we're not together anymore. His mom didn't really say much other than that she would miss me and would always care about me. I know it all seems like it was for the best, but I'm heartbroken. I didn't expect our relationship to end like this. He knew I wanted to work on my career, wait to have kids, etc., and always said he was fine with it. So it seems like he changed all of his expectations suddenly. I've been non-stop crying since the call, and I don't know what to think. I feel so stupid for not seeing that he was like this sooner, and I just wish I never dated him. but I hope that gives some closure to everyone, and I appreciate everyone's help and kind words. Thank you, everyone. Just read the update. I know it's rough, but wow, consider yourself lucky. This guy is cheating in some way, if it took him so long to respond. No one turns on a dime like he just did. You're both so young. Getting married after 6 months at your age is crazy. He has a lot of growing up to do, and his mommy knows that. You will be just fine. I'm just glad our relationship ended when he started expressing these views. I'd rather that than him hide it from me. He's going to abuse the heck out of whoever is dumb enough to marry him. I mean, the relationship certainly died, so I guess the flowers were appropriate regardless. She should have shoved them up his behind though. She'll know for next time, though hopefully she'll find someone who is emotionally stable and there won't be a next time. Next story, update. Am I the a-hole for yelling at my wife when she didn't back me up after our friend almost pushed me into a pool? Original post. I, 34 male, have never been a strong swimmer. I can tread water if needed, but I generally avoid swimming when possible. This is something my wife Anna, 32 female, knows and has always respected. Last weekend, we were at a barbecue at our friends Dave and Sarah's house. They have a nice backyard pool, and most people were planning to swim. I politely declined when everyone started changing into swimwear, saying I'd just hang out poolside. My wife went swimming with the others while I enjoyed watching from a safe distance. After about an hour, my friend Dave started insisting I join them. I kept saying no, explaining I wasn't comfortable swimming. He laughed it off and said, "Come on, don't be boring." I continued to refuse, getting increasingly uncomfortable with his pressuring. Things escalated when Dave started approaching me with this mischievous grin saying, "Sometimes you just need a little push." He actually grabbed my arm and started pulling me toward the pool. I panicked and pulled away, nearly falling in the process. I was genuinely frightened and shouted for him to stop. What upset me most was that my wife was right there watching this happen and said nothing. She was laughing along with everyone else like it was just a joke. I felt completely betrayed that she didn't step in when she knows how uncomfortable I am with swimming. After we got home, I confronted her. I'll admit I raised my voice significantly. I said something like, "How could you just stand there while Dave was trying to force me into the pool? You know I hate swimming. You're supposed to have my back." She got defensive and said I was overreacting and that Dave was just having fun. This made me even angrier, and I ended up sleeping on the couch. The next day, she told me I embarrassed her by making a scene and then yelling at her afterward. Now she's saying I should apologize to her and to Dave for ruining the vibe at the party. I don't think I'm wrong for expecting my wife to stand up for me, but maybe I shouldn't have yelled. So, am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments before reading the update. Your wife and Dave are ridiculous little punks. Sounds like none of them left middle school. I'm sorry your wife doesn't have your back. She is more concerned about what her friends think than your comfort and safety. Is this a pattern? Not the a-hole, and Dave is not your friend. Feeling safe and respected isn't optional in a relationship. He deserved backup, not betrayal. It's not even the pool. It's about her leaving you hanging. When my mom was a little girl, her brother rowed her away from shore, Lake Michigan, and threw her in. Told her to sink or swim, thinking it was the best way to teach her. My grandpa was able to rescue her before she drowned. Until the day she died, she hated water so much that she wouldn't even get her face wet under the shower spray. Your fear is real, and it is nobody's business, nor is it their right to force you into water or ridicule you about it. Is your wife afraid of spiders? If so, get a tarantula and put it in a see-through container. Then put it on the pillow next to her head so she sees it first thing in the morning. Tell her it's been there all night. When she screams at you, tell her she's being silly, that nothing would probably have happened to her if it got out. Then ask her if she understands yet. Now for the update. It's been a few days since my original post, and I wanted to give an update on the situation with my wife and Dave. First, I want to thank everyone for their comments and insights. I'm sorry I don't have time to respond to each comment. I also appreciate the Redditors saying that I'm weak or should start standing up for myself. Not gonna lie, maybe there's some truth in that. However, reading the different perspectives helped me reflect on the situation more clearly. After taking some time to cool down, I decided to have a proper conversation with my wife. We sat down after dinner, and I made sure to approach the topic calmly. I started by apologizing for yelling at her. I explained that while I was hurt by her not stepping in, my reaction wasn't constructive and I shouldn't have raised my voice. Anna listened and then opened up. She admitted she hadn't realized how genuinely frightened I was in the moment. She thought I was just being stubborn about swimming, and that Dave was trying to lighten the mood. She said she could see now how his actions crossed the line, and she apologized for not supporting me when I needed her. We had a deeper conversation about boundaries and how important it is to back each other up in social situations. She promised to be more attentive to situations that make me uncomfortable, and I promised to communicate my feelings before they escalate to shouting. It was actually a really productive conversation that brought us closer. As for Dave, he called me the other day. I thought he might be calling to apologize, but that's not what happened. Instead, he asked why I was being so weird about the pool incident and said everyone was just trying to have fun. When I tried explaining how his actions made me feel unsafe, he dismissed it and said I needed to lighten up and learn to take a joke. I kept my cool and told him firmly that trying to force someone into water when they've repeatedly said no isn't a joke. It's disrespectful and potentially dangerous. He scoffed and changed the subject to some upcoming basketball game. My wife and I have decided to take a break from hanging out with Dave for a while. Anna completely supports this decision now that she understands how serious this was for me. We're planning to spend more time with friends who respect boundaries instead. I'm relieved that my wife and I are on the same page now, even if Dave still doesn't get it. Sometimes you realize which relationships are worth putting the work into and which ones might need to be reconsidered. Well done on actually talking with your wife about it. But Dave? Screw Dave. Dave isn't a friend. Friends listen when asked to do so and try to understand each other out of respect. Great update. I am so glad you didn't listen to some of the weirdos on your original post. Haha. Dave, as I said then, sounds like he sucks. One of those really juvenile people who all years later still thinks the best laugh you can possibly have is putting a bug in the face of someone who's afraid of bugs. To say nothing of the fact that pushing to someone who is afraid of water and can't swim towards water is obviously way more dangerous than that. The fact that he can't even bring himself to apologize when you're saying you were upset, just switching the subject to avoid even a second of self-reflection, really indicates what his maturity level is. Taking a break from him honestly sounds like a good idea.